Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We're so excited to have you here and really hope that this webinar is very helpful to you and that you learn something from it. You are attending the Updating Data in Bulk with Listing Mirror webinar. So we're going to be going over a few things today in regards to the spreadsheet uploads that you have available to you in Listing Mirror. I see that we already have some questions coming in, which is awesome. I just want to mention that if you do have any questions throughout the webinar, we would really love to answer the questions that you have at the end. So please make sure that you take a couple seconds just to enter any questions that you think of as we're going through this content. We did this webinar yesterday and we realized while we were doing it that there's quite a bit of information that we're throwing at you. So if there's anything that comes up that isn't clear to you or anything that we could explain a little bit more in detail in order to have it make sense for your business, please let us know. We would love to answer those questions at the end. Here you see our agenda for today. The first thing that I want to go through is anybody that was able to answer our icebreaker question that I had up before. So when and why to use the bulk edit option. So I'll just look to see if we have any answers there. It doesn't look like we do. So we will just keep moving forward then. That is no big deal. We are always curious to get feedback from our clients to see what features are most useful to them and the ways in which you're using the software that we've created for you. So if at any time you do want to give feedback on that, we would love to hear from you and how, if there's anything that we could do to make it more useful to you, we would love to know that. So in just a second, I'm going to turn the webinar over to Olivia, and she's going to go through the actual tutorial of where to find these bulk spreadsheet downloads, where to upload them, understanding a few of the different spreadsheets that are most commonly used, and then just talking through a few things that will help you troubleshoot should you run into any problems, and also some best practices for using our most commonly used spreadsheets. Like I said, we are going to leave time at the end for question and answer. So please throw any questions that you have in there. I'm going to be answering questions by text response. If there's something that comes through that maybe isn't relevant to the whole group, but is still something that you're curious about, I will do my best to answer questions by text. And then we will save some of them for the end to make sure that anything that's applicable to anybody or to everyone, that we're covering that in a way that is best for our whole group. So we're going to get started there, and I'm going to turn it over to Olivia.
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. It's finally warm here in Wisconsin. Warm meaning 66 degrees, but to us that's warm. So I'm having a good morning. Hopefully you guys are as well. I'm just going to share my screen. So give me a second as I get that set up. And we will get started here. And like Erin said, if you guys have any questions, make sure that you put them in the question section. Either Erin will answer them as we're going through this, or at the end when we have our Q&A time, we'll go through the questions there. I already see that there's a couple questions and they're really good ones. So hopefully I'm able to cover those in our webinar. If not, we'll go through them at the end as well. Alrighty, so I have my screen showing here. And again, like Erin mentioned, yesterday when we did this, we realized this is a lot of information to take in at one time. This webinar is recorded and we'll send it to you after the webinar, just so you guys can go back to it and kind of review it again if you guys need it or you want to send it to other people in your company. So I have the dashboard here on the left-hand side, and then I have all of our spreadsheets that we're going to go through on the right-hand side. So that's what you guys should be seeing. And this account is just a demo account that I use for our webinars. On here, as an example, I just have eBay and Walmart. Your account should look fairly similar to this. You might have different marketplaces, but the layout should look familiar to you. So the thing we're going to focus on today is our bulk templates or spreadsheets. If you guys haven't used those before, I highly recommend them. Sometimes if you're new to it, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So hopefully this webinar helps you guys feel more comfortable using our different spreadsheets. But where you guys will find those is under your listing dropdown, and you'll select bulk edit templates here. So in here, you guys will see all the different template options that we have. I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger for us to look at. So on here, all the template options we have are going to show up in here in your little drop down, and you'll select the one depending on what you guys are wanting to edit, which will go through our top 5 most commonly used spreadsheets, so you guys can see what those ones look like. But there are tons of other spreadsheets as well that you guys can use. So all of them have the titles here. You'll select the one that you want to download. Let's say we want to select the quantity and location update to update all of our quantity. We'll select that one. You'll click download template. That will take you to a new page and tell you that your template is generating. This process, you may see that your page keeps reloading, and that just means that it's taking a little bit longer, probably because you have more SKUs that we need to download into that spreadsheet. Once it's done, depending on what you guys are using, I'm using Chrome, so that just shows up here at the bottom, and then I can open that spreadsheet. Once it opens, I just have that showing up here on the right-hand side. And I just have Google Sheets open for us to look at. And this is what your template is going to look like. So this one is specifically the quantity and location update. We have some other ones like the price update, our core edit, which we're going to go through all of these, but they all look very similar. You'll see the first column usually will have either a listing ID or a SKU, and then the rest of the data that you're going to be able to edit is going to be after that. So in our case, we have the SKU and we have our quantity here from my 2 different warehouses. And you'll see at the bottom, there's also multiple sheets. So this one has the quantity and location update that I can change and edit. And then there's another one called Lookup. And this one is going to be on every single one of your spreadsheets that you see or that you download. And this one should not be changed or deleted. This is the way that we know what account to upload this in, and also what spreadsheet it is. So that's what it's going to tell Listing Mirror. To you, it has no meaning, but just make sure that you're not deleting that, you're not changing any of that information. The other thing to note here with our spreadsheet is what you can and can't delete. So you can delete lines. So if you don't want, let's see, these products here, you don't want them in the spreadsheet, you could select them and just remove them. That's completely fine. That's not going to cause any issues with uploading. Somebody had mentioned in there what happens if you upload the template that has more than 10,000 lines or rows. Not all of them have this requirement, but it's just kind of a good best practice that we recommend. But if you do have more than 10,000, your process will just be to delete the ones that you're not wanting to upload on that spreadsheet. So you could go through, there's quick ways to delete multiple rows at a time, but that's going to be what it looks like. The things that you want to make sure that you're not deleting is one, that lookup sheet, which we went over. The other thing is going to be full columns. So if I deleted this full SKU column, that would create an issue, it would create an error, and we wouldn't be able to upload this spreadsheet. The other thing is going to be any titles. So we have, like, if I deleted this whole row, again, that's going to create an error and we won't be able to upload that. So make sure that if you have, it's usually going to be row 1 and 2 that's going to be important. And then the rest of these rows that have the SKUs, those can be deleted. So hopefully that helps out. And then once you guys are ready, you made all the changes that you want to, you'll just save that as an Excel in Google Sheets. It just looks like the file drop down and then downloading that as an Excel file. And then what you'll do is in Listing Mirror, let me bring it back here. We're going to go back to our bulk edit template page. So if you're on this page, you can just go return, or on the top, click on the listing drop down and bulk edit templates the same way we did before. So in here, you'll have the option to upload a template. So if you click that, it'll open up all of your files. You'll select the one that you're wanting to upload, and that will come into Listing Mirror. So once it's uploaded, you guys, and you may see this, your little notification center here will turn red when you have a notification, and most of the time that's going to be from template uploads that you've done. So if I click on that, it will tell you which ones that you've uploaded and the summary for it. So these are just old ones that I've uploaded previously that we can look at. So it'll tell you when it was done, when it was ready, and the type of template that you uploaded. And then it will give you a summary, which this summary is very helpful because it will tell you how many lines were updated and how many errors there were. So if you click on more details, it'll tell you more about that. So if I had any errors, it would tell me what row had the error and what the error was. So it'll kind of tell you exactly what you need to do to make the changes and upload that file again. So always take a look at this once you guys have uploaded the file, because you might upload a quantity file, think it's all good to go, but actually there's some error with it. You deleted a row, or you deleted something you weren't supposed to, or for whatever reason we weren't able to upload it. So always make sure that you guys are checking your notifications once you uploaded a template. But that's kind of the basics of the templates, downloading them, uploading them, what you can and can't delete from them. So now we'll go through specific templates that we have and the most common ones that we offer. So first, here on the left-hand side, I want to show you what the dashboard looks like, and then I'll show you what that template looks like too. So this one is our inventory tab, and that's what correlates with our quantity and location update template that we were looking at before. So on the dashboard, you'll have your quantity from the warehouses. In my demo account, I just have a warehouse 1 and warehouse 2 with the quantities there. And then you'll also see there's a location field, which you can opt in and out of. So your account might not have this field, but you can always enable it through your profile settings if you want to use that location. So that's going to show in here. The one thing that you'll see is FBA does not show in my spreadsheet, and that is because we're getting those quantities directly from Amazon. So you're not able to change those either on the dashboard or in the spreadsheet. So we just don't show that in the spreadsheet. If you're using Deliver or Rakuten Super Logistics, it's going to be the same. We just won't show those in your spreadsheet. It will only show in the dashboard here. So then coming over to the spreadsheet, this one is fairly simple. You just have all your quantities in here. You can add whatever quantity that you need to, deduct it, and then do that, save the file and upload it into Listing Mirror. A lot of times with our quantity updates, people are doing Vlookup. So if you guys have a supplier that you need to upload their quantity into Listing Mirror, you can do a Vlookup. If you're not familiar with that, there's lots of helpful YouTube videos on how to do that, lots of articles that you guys can read. But you can do that. It is going to require you to add a sheet to this template. So you'll add that sheet, you'll do your Vlookup. It will bring in formulas to this template, but the formulas cannot be uploaded into Listing Mirror. So just make sure if you're doing a Vlookup, you do two things. Once you're done doing that, you change all of these to values only. If there's any sort of formula in here, it won't upload into Listing Mirror. So just make sure you paste values. And then the other thing is just to remove that Vlookup sheet. If you have an extra sheet in here that is not supposed to be there, then again, it will error out. So just make sure you remove that sheet and paste values only for that Vlookup. But that's the basics for our quantity and location update template. And if you guys have questions about any of that, just put it in the chat or the question section there in the webinar. The next one that I want to go through is our price update. So again, this is another popular one that people will use. And that one in the dashboard looks like this. So on your pricing tab, all your prices will show up here with your SKU, title, image, everything like that. And then in the actual template, it will show your SKU and then your prices for your channels, whatever channels that you have. The one thing that you'll see here is that it doesn't have prices for every single SKU, which might seem odd, but if we look here at the left-hand side, you can see that there are some that are grayed out. So if they are grayed out, that means that they are in sync with product catalog. So product catalog is actually the where we're syncing the price. So that price is actually going to be changed on your product catalog and sync out to the marketplaces. So in our price update, we are just going to show the ones that are not in sync with product catalog so you can make changes there. One question we get a lot is, can I add a price in here even if it was in sync with product catalog? What happens if I add a price here? So if you add a price here, you save that, upload it, it's just going to not be in sync with product catalog, and it will use whatever price you uploaded. So that'll just take it out of sync. If you're not familiar with product catalog or you're not familiar with how it's syncing, we did do a webinar last month on the basics of Listing Mirror, and that focused a lot on product catalog and how that syncs out to the marketplaces. So if you have more questions about that, let us know. We'll send you the recording of that webinar because it's super helpful when coming to product catalog. So that is going to be our price template. You'll see here the only two sheets we have is the price and lookup. Again, lookup, just ignore it, don't delete it. But that is going to be the basics there. The next one I want to go through is our product edit. So let me get back here. So product edit is has to do with our product catalog. So going over here, let's use this SKU here. So getting into your product catalog, you click on any of these SKUs. If it's a variation, it will bring up that specific variant that we're looking at. So again, if you guys need more information about product catalog, let us know. We won't focus on that today. We're kind of just focusing on these spreadsheets, but there's a lot of good information on that previous webinar that we did. So in here, we have all of your titles, your size, your color, images, everything like that. And this is what's going to show up in our template here on the right-hand side. So if we bring this up, I'm looking at a specific variant. We can also go back to the product here to see that information. And if you're looking here on the right-hand side, you'll see that the first one is going to be the parent. You'll have your parent information all the way, if we scroll here, all the way over to where you see product variant fields. So all of these fields, these first ones all the way to AD, are going to be parent fields or product fields, which are showing up here. So your title, your brand, description, everything like that is going to show up all the way till here. And then the rest of the information for any variants, if we go back there, all of these fields are going to show up after or on AE and past. So you can see all of those fields are here. So depending on what you guys are wanting to change, that's going to be how you're looking at this spreadsheet. The other thing that you'll see is there's some that are grayed out, some fields that are grayed out here, and that is because they don't or they're not important for, losing my words here. These fields are not necessary because we have the parent field. So if you put a title in here, that's not going to sync anywhere in Listing Mirror because it's not the parent, it's not the product. So anything that's grayed out, just make sure you don't fill it out. If you do, it's not going to break anything. It's just not going to show up anywhere in Listing Mirror because it's not a required field there. So just ignore any of your gray fields and make sure you're only filling out these fields here. Again, on the sheets, we'll see the lookup sheet, and then, which again, don't need to do anything with. And then with this one, you'll also see an action sheet, which all of them, I had this one set as true. All of them will default as false. So this action sheet is telling us if you want us to sync to all of your integrations. So let's say, for example, this one we can see is not in sync with all of my marketplaces. So you can see it has little yellow square here. It's in sync with Walmart, but it's not in sync with eBay. So what this is saying here is, do you want us to sync out to all marketplaces, even if it's not in sync with product catalog? Do you want us to override that and sync to all the marketplaces regardless? So you can do that with any of these fields. Let's say you went in here, you changed a whole bunch of titles. You know that they're not in sync with Walmart and eBay, but that's your goal. When you go to this action, you'll just select true for our title, and that's just going to sync out to all marketplaces that have this product. So in our case, eBay and Walmart, even if they weren't in sync with product catalog, now they will be, and they're going to be syncing the title. So depending on how you guys are wanting to use this template, just make sure you go to this action and check anything that you're wanting to sync to all marketplaces. So that is our product edit template, which is very, very useful when you guys are, especially if you've been with Listing Mirror for a while. We always recommend, now that we have product catalog, if you're not familiar with it, first familiarize yourself with it and then go in there and make updates so we're able to use that data to sync out to all of your marketplaces. And this spreadsheet is very helpful for doing bulk updates on your listings. Alrighty, so the next one here is our core edit spreadsheet. Hopefully I still have you guys, you still are locked in. I know this is a lot of information. We're almost done. We're gonna get through 2 more spreadsheets. So make sure you guys are adding your questions in there and we'll go through those at the end. So this next one is the core edit. I have that named a little bit different than what it is in Listing Mirror. So let's go and find that one. We're going to go to our bulk edit templates. And the template that we are downloading is called the Market Listing Core Edit template. So if you're going to download something for a specific marketplace, you're going to select first the template, and then it will ask you what integration you want to download it for. In my case, I downloaded it for eBay. So I'll select that and download that template. So that is connected to your actual eBay listing. So before we were looking at the product, which is your Listing Mirror catalog, and that syncs out to all marketplaces. Now we're looking at a specific marketplace. So if I click on this SKU or this gear icon, the fields that are going to show up on your core edit are anything that's on this listing tab. So your parent listing fields and child listing fields that are on this specific tab are going to show up in this template. So not every single field on the whole entire listing shows up on here. So just be aware of that when you guys are going through and trying to update things. If you're like, oh, I need a template for this, make sure you know what tab you're on. So this one, again, the market listing core edit is going to be anything on the listing tab. So your parent titles, your descriptions, that kind of stuff. So looking here on the right-hand side at our template or spreadsheet, you'll have, again, just your SKU, your title, all of the fields that we're seeing here are going to show up here. The one thing that you'll see that's different than our other templates, you'll see the grayed out fields for ones that are not necessary to fill out, but you'll also see there's some yellow fields and blue fields. So the yellow field, that just means that it's required. So anything that's required, and most of them should be filled out, but anything that's required will show up here. Just make sure that's filled out for all of your SKUs when you're uploading. The other thing that you'll see is blue fields. So that means that we are in sync with product catalog. So this specific field is in sync with product catalog. You can change these. So if you go in here and you update this one, what will happen is it will just take it out of sync with product catalog and just be an eBay field. So you can do that. You can always change these blue fields. It'll just bring it out of sync with product catalog. And then with this one, we just have a lookup sheet again, and then instructions, which just tells you what the gray and blue fields mean. So that is going to be our core edit. And then the other one that's very popular, especially if you have a lot of required fields that need to be filled out, is our category specific. So I think for this one, I downloaded Walmart. So let me just bring up that one. So I download this one for our Walmart listing. So anything that's on this category tab, so if you guys are familiar with this, you have your category selector at the top, and then based on that category, you have custom fields that you can fill out. And for some marketplaces, they have required custom fields that you have to fill out. And then they have a whole bunch of other ones that you can, but they're not required. So all of these fields that we're looking at here are going to show up in our category specific add and update template. So here on the right-hand side, the thing that you'll see is it won't have every single variation. It will just have a listing ID, and then the child SKUs will all show up in one field here, as you guys can see. That is because every these fields are technically parent fields, so it'll apply to all child SKUs. If I fill out this brand, I just have to fill it out one time, and it will apply to all of our variants that we have. So that's why you're seeing all of them show up here. And then you'll see all of the different fields that you can fill out in here. And then the other thing that you'll see is the yellow field. So again, that means that it's required, which is nice because then you can just go through and make sure anything that's required is filled out so those listings can go live on the marketplace. In this case, only brand is required, but Walmart has quite a few fields that you can fill out. The other one that may be required is the Prop 65 warning. A lot of products that is required, and this is an easy way just to get it filled out for all of them. It's a yes or no in there, so you can just type in yes or no on the spreadsheet and upload that. And then if you need any warning text as well, you can add that in here. So that kind of sums up all of our templates. Our top 5 templates that people are using are quantity update, price update, product edit, core edit, and category specific update. So that is all that I have. I'll hand it back over to Erin to answer any questions that we had come in, but hopefully this was very helpful for you guys.
Thanks so much, Olivia. We did have some really good questions come in, and actually, I think there's 2 of them that I'm not even sure what the answer is, so I think it'll be good to go through these. So let me just share my screen again. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. Okay, Olivia, so the first question that we got that I do want to make sure that we go over more completely is if we use the create and delete template and it's over 10,000 rows, does listing mirror error out? So in fact, we can talk about this at a higher level. It's not just the create and delete template. Any of the templates that you upload, it is better for you to keep them under 10,000 rows. And the reason is that we can't forever continue to upload things because obviously that would become very overwhelming for our servers. So we have to at some point put a limit to how long we will allow an upload to take, just for the performance of the whole platform itself. So that is why we recommend doing under 10,000 rows to make sure that your upload happens in a timely fashion. If you do have more than 10,000 rows though, what we recommend is that you just split it up into a couple different spreadsheets. So anything that you've already uploaded, then obviously you would just take out of the next upload that you do, and then you would just upload the next content. So of course we understand that sometimes this can be really really frustrating or really feel like a big hindrance, but like I said, the reason is we want to make sure the performance of our whole site is working really well. So it's important to us that we don't just let that we don't just let uploads take, however long they would need to. It's better for us and for you as well if they're a little bit smaller, so that we can make sure that those happen. Is there anything else about that one, Olivia, that I did not go over?
I think one thing that I forgot to go over when we were looking at the bulk edit template page is filtering your downloads. So if you are going to that page, there is the option for searching, and you can also do advanced searches. So similar to the manage listings page, on that template page, you guys can do filtered downloads. So do the search that you guys are wanting to use. I know a lot of people will do it based on the listing status. So you only want to see listings that are incomplete, so you can fix those. or you want to do it by a certain field and you do it by vendor. There's a lot of different ways that you can filter those downloads, and that will limit the amount of SKUs that are being downloaded too, and that helps with the limit.
Yes, correct. So, right, like any rows that you don't need to update, one way of filtering those out is just not downloading them in the first place. So, like Olivia said, you can use advanced search for that. And if there's any rows in your spreadsheet that you aren't going to update, you can just take those out, and that's another way to make your spreadsheets a little bit smaller. All right, the next question we have is, will all of my SKUs show in the template regardless of their status, like if they're incomplete or have an error or something like that? And I believe so, but can you think of examples where maybe those wouldn't show, Olivia?
So all of those will show up in the templates. If you do a filtered download that you remove them manually, then yes, those won't show up. But yeah, any download that you do, all SKUs, regardless of its status, will show up.
And I'm thinking too, maybe one of the like underlying questions of this is how could someone tackle their errors? Say for instance, you know, they have a bunch of variations that they need to update or something like this. Don't we now have a spreadsheet where people can download listings that have errors on them with like the error showing so that they can know what to update?
Yeah, so the market listing core edit or the category specific add an update, at the end of those spreadsheets, it will show what incomplete message you have, so you can update that. On my demo account, I didn't have that showing just because I didn't have any incomplete messages on them. But yes, on yours, scroll all the way to the end of the spreadsheet and you'll see a column for errors, and you can go through and get all of those cleaned up through a spreadsheet.
Yep, and by the end, she means the very right column. So however many columns there are, the furthest one to the right is where you're going to see those messages. So
Correct.
that is an easy way to clean up those listings in bulk and take advantage of that, you know, bulk option for sure. All right, so now we're just getting to our last one here. Is there a way to switch SKUs to which variation it's attached to in bulk? Any column on the bulk sheets related to and controlling the variations? So I think I understand this question. Do you understand it, Olivia?
I do, but I don't know the answer to it off the top of my head. I would have to look into it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I know that there's a lot of complications with how the data is managed like behind the scenes, and my initial thought is there may not be a way to change which parent listing your variation belongs to in a spreadsheet, just because of the way that the data has to fit together by the time it gets from your spreadsheet to your listing mirror account. But you know what, let's follow up with you on that in the event that there is something. So we will make sure to confer with our team and get back to you, Izzy. And maybe Olivia, we could just include that in our follow-up email, and that way anybody else who has that question as well, they could get the answer.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Okay, cool. Let's see. I see that someone has their hand up, but I'm not familiar with how to manage hand up. So do you know?
I think that was all.
Yeah, that's all the questions I see.
Yep, I think that's all of them.
All right, cool. So if we don't have any more questions, let's just move into what to do should you run across something that you aren't sure how to handle. So let's say there's something in your account that you don't know how to manage, or perhaps there is a setting that isn't working how you expected it to work, anything like that. So the best way, and I think Olivia probably mentioned this as she was talking as well, is that we want you to get in touch with us, because we don't expect, as you can see, you know, we just spent, I don't know, 25 minutes going through a very, very tiny portion of what Listing Mirror can do for your business with these bulk uploads. but we understand that there's a lot of nuance and there's a lot of very specific details to how your account fits together. So our expectation is not that as soon as you start using the software, you know how to use it and you don't have any questions. So with that in mind, we do want to make sure that we're making ourselves available to you so that you can get the help that you need when you need it. So the best way to do that is to get in touch with us through support.listingmirror.com. So through that website, you will see our whole knowledge base, which we're constantly adding articles to. You can also see our training center there. We have an FAQ section as well if you feel like, it's a pretty common question. And that's also where you would be able to contact the support team directly. So we do have a support team that works in our office. And they are super knowledgeable. One thing that's unique about Listing Mirror is that most of us all work in the same location. Of course, because of the pandemic and such, we're not quite all back in the office, but we do a lot of knowledge sharing between us, between departments even. And so should you have a question about your account, the best thing that you can do is to look through our knowledge base. If you're not finding the information that you need, submit a ticket. You'll see that option, and then we'll be able to help you from there. Our team works Monday through Friday from morning to evening. We're at Eastern time, so we work from 9 to 6. And we do a pretty good job of answering most questions within 24 hours. You will always hear back from us within 24 hours during the week. But if we're not able to solve your issue that quickly, we will make sure that you have updates so you know what's going on. We also want to make sure that anything that you need in the process of setting up your Listing Mirror account, that you have access to someone to help you with that. So Olivia was just talking to you. Here's her picture. So Olivia is our client success manager, and she is here for you for getting your account set up. Once your account is set up, maybe you've been with Listing Mirror for a little while and you just aren't exactly sure if you're using it as effectively as you could be. Maybe there's other things that you've seen that we offer that you want to take advantage of, whatever that looks like. She's here for you to be able to do account audits, for her to look through your settings, maybe do a wellness check, maybe looking at the listings that you have that have errors on them. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can use her skill set. Olivia's been with Listing Mirror since the very beginning, so she is the most knowledgeable person that we have on our staff. She also can offer you topical training. So say you've recently hired someone to manage your Listing Mirror account or something like that, and you need some very specific training on different settings and different features, she'd be happy to go through those things with you. So you can reach out to her by email, olivia@listingmirror.com. And I'm sure that also you could get in touch with her if you just submitted a ticket as well through the support portal, which I showed you before, support.listingmirror.com. We also just wanted to let you know that we do have another upcoming webinar on the schedule already. The next topic that we're going to cover is common errors and how to solve them. We are really excited about this because we know that there is so much that goes into really bettering your Listing Mirror account by working through the errors that you get on your listings when you try to list your products on different marketplaces. So if you're newer to Listing Mirror, you may be like, whoa, this sounds like big and scary, or I have no idea what you're talking about. But one very common thing when you're getting set up with Listing Mirror and we start syncing listings from Listing Mirror out to the channels that you sell on is that sometimes the data that you send to the channel, they reject for one reason or another. So what we want to do is we want to offer you some resources, our best practices, the expert knowledge that we have gained through the years of how to solve these errors. I'm sure also that we'll talk a little bit about how to solve them in bulk as well, just through a spreadsheet, and help giving you tips and tricks for making sure that your listings are in a good state. Obviously, we want to see your listings live on the marketplace because that is when you sell and that is when you make money, which is good for both of us. So we will be covering that in the next webinar that we have coming up, and Olivia will make sure to send the registration link in a follow-up email. I'm just checking to make sure we don't have any other questions. that is all I have for you guys today. And I do see that we are just at the end of our time. So I think that is about it. Olivia, is there anything else you wanted to mention before we close up?
Nope, I think that's it. I'll do a couple follow-up emails. I know some people requested the previous webinar, so I'll send that out to you guys. And then tomorrow you will be receiving a follow-up email from me that has the recording of this webinar and also the link to sign up for the next webinar. But that is
Sounds
all I
good.
have.
All right. Thanks so much to all of you. Thank you, Olivia, for going through this content with us, and we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Have a good one.